Welcome, guys, to podcast episode number 48, The Full Armor of Game. Today's podcast, this is from the people in the Players University. They told us they wanted us to do a podcast on this specific topic that we are going to present to you guys. And you guys get special perks when you're in the Players University. If you have any topics you want us to go into detail, we got you guys. So the topic today is how to know when she wants to be kissed during the date and when to back off.
You bring the crowns and heads of conquered kings to my city steps. You insult my queen. You threaten my people with slavery and death. This is Sparta! Sparta! Put on the whole armor of game. This is where we fight! And these shield boys!
A lot of guys seem to be having trouble with this, but once again, we got you. We have the #1 men's community in the world right now, the Players University. Guys are learning so much game in there. We have over 10 players that are really holding it down, helping you guys out as well. And we're going to start by reading a situation from one of our newest members. He's been going through something with his girlfriend he's been in a relationship with for 7 years, over 7 years, guys. Afternoon, gents. I joined this group a month ago looking to improve my non-existent game/social skills since I've been in a relationship for over 7 years. But that's besides the point. A few days ago when I was drinking with the girlfriend, she admitted to me that she's been in multiple threesomes, and she asked me a year ago if I would ever be into that. And as a simp, I said no. There's nothing simp about that, to have boundaries, to say no if you're not comfortable with doing something, because the majority of men wouldn't be comfortable with that. However, now that she has admitted to me that she did this, I am distraught. I don't know what to do, but I can't remove the image of this in my head. Also, prior to our relationship starting, I always wanted to, but she made me choose her or the single life. Clearly, I chose her, but years later, I was just sitting here with so much resentment. I don't know how to handle it. I just want some direction from you guys. Cheers. Any thoughts, Adam?
Yeah. Well, here's what I know, at least in a situation like this. If you have that gut feeling in your stomach, if a girl says something and you just like he said, it made him distraught when he found out that the girl he was seeing has been in not one threesome, but multiple threesomes in the past, and he can't shake that out of his stomach. I already know that if you get that type of feeling, it's time to move on, because that is so hard to recover from. And then all of a sudden, anytime you see her talking to another guy or this or any little thing that can bring back that memory, and you're going to be turned off again in your stomach, it's like much better to start fresh with someone new than have to live with that image in your mind.
And that's the advice that we all gave him. And this actually happened to me not long ago. I was dating a girl and we were getting pretty serious. She checked off every green mark that I had. No tattoos, beautiful, feminine, doesn't wear a lot of makeup, works out, always uplifting, emotionally stable, emotionally mature. And then out of nowhere, I don't even know how this topic began, but she told me that she had a threesome with one of her best girlfriends in college and another guy. And it was the way she said it too that really bothered me. And ever since then, I never got it out of my head. I lost a little respect for her. And I think that's what happens with guys when women reveal certain sexual pasts with them. And that's why it's always best not to ask them. You don't want to know certain things, but if they bring it up on their own, I couldn't move past that. So I don't think I can continue being with her. I can't get serious with her. And as a man, that's something you guys have to do. You're not a true player if you can't walk away from a woman. You have to have the door always open. You need to have the ability to walk away if something doesn't sit right with you. But I agree with you, Adam. It was just brewing in my head. Still haven't forgotten about it every time I looked at her. it's not the same anymore.
Yeah, and that's one of the kind of poker faces you kind of have to put on when you're getting better with women is that you've got to appear non-judgmental so that you do get information like this out. Because if I knew a girl had had multiple threesomes in her past, to me, she's fine to hang out with, she's fine to have fun with, but that's not a girl that I would want. I wouldn't consider that commitment material. Someone that's making those choices multiple times in her past. So it's always important to play it off cool, not judgmental, but then you lock those things in your mind. And if one of those boundaries in your mind is crossed, like Zara said, you've got to be willing to walk away if it doesn't sit right with you. If you want to keep hanging out with her, keep it casual, no problem. But if that is eating your stomach up, then you know, I would think there's no chance of committing to this girl in any way, shape, or form again, because that will come back to bite you and eat you up again later.
And that's why we tell you don't ever judge women. And why do we tell you that? Because they reveal all these things about themselves. And eventually everything will come out. You don't even have to force it out of her. But you want to be that guy who is her safe zone where she's comfortable telling you these things about herself. And
Yeah,
then you
and
make the judgment. Like Adam said, keep it in your back pocket, decide what you want to do with it.
I can even see this type of thing coming out a lot at parties or drinking games. And like I'm picturing myself in the scenario. If that comes out, I am not judging whatever girl is telling the story. Oh, I've had multiple threesomes. I'd be like, oh, interesting. Yeah, you had some fun in college. You got, and I might even ask her questions about it. And it's gonna appear to everyone in the room that I'm very non-judgmental. I'm very like, no big deal. That doesn't matter, no problem. And that also is good because then, of course, women will feel comfortable telling me things because they think I'm non-judgmental. But also, then if a girl tells me something later and she's like, "Oh gosh, I could never do that. The threesome thing never, that just never appealed to me." She can tell me that, and now I can even more believe her because she's telling me this, even though I'm the non-judgmental guy. So now I
Mhm.
can actually get the real green flags out from women as well, because there will be women that will say, "Oh gosh, that just never sat right. I need to be in a committed relationship before I sleep with someone." And now I'm getting more information out as well.
Yeah. So I hope we helped him out. I hope he takes our advice. 7 years is a long time to be with someone, but it's best to nip that in the bud right now. Rejection is always God's way of protecting you guys. Okay. But we also have a special announcement. August 21st, we're starting our 5 week seminar for you guys. We had many people who submitted an application. They've been waiting. They've been waiting. We're finally announcing it right now before the summer ends, August 21st. That's Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern. We are going to give you guys a 5 week seminar, 5 week coaching program. We're going to go over some PowerPoints with you. We're going to present everything from beginning to end, how to attract a woman, how to seduce her, how to keep her. And on top of that, you guys get 3 months free in the Players University, and you also get all of our courses included for free. That is $1,000 value you guys are getting included for free. So if you guys need help on your journey, we got you guys. We're giving you the full package here. No one else is doing it like we are. You're also getting a workout program to help you gain that shoulder to waist ratio that women find the most attractive. Your confidence will skyrocket alone after 12 weeks.
Yeah, guys.
Guaranteed.
And this is the time, like we said, it's a 5 weeks where we go through everything you could think of, and then there's so much time after each seminar for the live Q&A to get all of your questions answered. All the things that come up is you're learning new stuff through the seminars. And then, like we said, you're getting 3 months free after that of Players University because Czar and I want to make sure that when you go through something like this with us, that you're not left behind. So we're getting 5 weeks with you where we're going to take you through it step by step every week. Then we're going to make sure that you're staying with us for sure for another 3 months in the Players University so that you can continue to implement the things you're learning, ask the questions that you have as they come up, and then learn from myself, Czar, and then all the other guys now in Players University that have a lot more experience under their belts. So this is the time. Get it in. End of summer. Get that, when those girls start wearing all that, the fall clothes, they got those cute little like winter clothes on. They're drinking their little pumpkin spice lattes, smelling all cinnamony. Yeah, that's gonna be the time that you're ready to seduce, attract, seduce, and get more of these beautiful women in your lives. So
And
join up.
that's the time when they want a relationship too. I think once the summer is over, these girls are looking more for a relationship, which can work in your favor depending on what you guys want to do. If you want to have a rotation, date several beautiful women, that's on you. If you want to learn how to keep the one woman that you will be happy with, we also teach you how to do that. We're not just here teaching you guys how to sleep with a bunch of women. No, we want you guys to gain value from what these women can give you. We want these women to give you value in your life. That's the whole purpose of this. And we might have special guests like Justin from the Players University. That would be fun to have him on there.
Oh
Maybe
yeah.
Rich as well. Some of the guys that have mastered this game so far because they've listened to everything we said. They have all of our courses and they are killing it. But why are they killing it? Because they have a hunger to learn this stuff. Doesn't matter how old you are.
Yep, just got to have the mindset, the desire to learn. And everyone that does, we know that, Zara and I, we know the guys that are coming in hungry, those guys learn the quickest.
And I'm proud of them. So
Okay,
let's
so
start.
today's topics are we got kind of how to go in for a first kiss, when to know a girl's ready to be kissed, and then what to do if something goes wrong when she's pulling back or how to handle that. So Zara, what kind of goes through your mind about when to know a girl's ready to be kissed or your process for that?
Her energy. So you have to be aware of her energy. Is she going into this date looking at you as a free meal ticket? Because there's professional daters out there. They have boyfriends, they're dating guys, they're just using you for these dinner dates, for you to spend money on them. But are they really attracted to you? So you have to know whether or not this woman is highly attracted to you. So the first thing you guys notice when you meet her on that first date, she has to be slightly apprehensive. She has to be slightly nervous meeting you. You can feel that in her energy. When a woman is nervous when she first meets you, she's highly attracted to you. Automatically, she's highly attracted to you. You can sense it in her energy. If she's confident, brazen, like a fucking honey badger, she's not even threatened by you. She's not nervous. It's almost as if, I'm just here using him. That girl's not attracted to you.
An example might be, let's just say that like a you have a date for 7 p.m. and some girl rolls up in her like yoga pants and kind of her workout gear. Her hair's up in a bun. It's kind of messy. And she's like, "Oh, I just came here straight from the gym." In my mind, I am not thinking this girl's that nervous. This girl is not that excited to see me because she decided to come casually over straight from the gym and just showed up, not done up at all. That would be an example of where I'm like, whoa, okay, this girl's acting way too cool, way too nonchalant. Like that is an energy where I'd be like, she's not that highly interested.
And that happened to me once, Adam, and you're right. I never even kissed her, never saw her again. She showed up, hair looking like a bird's nest, sweatpants as if she just rolled out of bed. Voila, here I am. I already knew it was over. The second I saw her, I was like, oh, game over. I got used that night. So it happened. So you have to establish that.
Yeah,
The
and
next
I
thing,
think
yeah, go
if
on.
we were to just step back for a minute, that's why it's a big deal where it's not just you getting a girl to agree to a date is not like a win. A lot of guys are like, "Oh, she finally agreed to show up." And it's like if you're working really, really hard for a girl just to agree to a date with you, then she is going to feel that energy of how much you care. You're so invested in getting her out to a date where she is not going to feel very nervous going on that date. She's not going to feel nervous to cancel on you because she's like, "Ah, this guy wants me." So then she's going to show up either late or flake on you last minute or kind of show up and not really care that much because the guy's too eager setting up the date. So that's why it's important when you're the whole game is important. Every step of this matters because the more eager you are setting up the date, the more in control she's going to feel and the less nervous. And then she's going to not be as invested in the date when she does show up.
And you don't want a girl like that. It's a waste of your time. There's no attraction there. There's no excitement from your end. The conversations are dull. You know this girl is just using you. Don't waste your time, fellas. Just excuse yourself. Tell her you had an emergency. You have to go. You can reschedule. And just leave her there. Who gives a fuck? But in order to kiss a girl, you guys have to understand this. You have to position yourself next to her. Positioning is everything. If you sit across from her at a table, what are the odds you're going to be able to kiss her? What are the odds, Adam? They're slim to none, unless you look like
Yeah,
an idiot
that's a
leaning
whole
over.
awkward setup. I mean, there's probably a way to do it, but it's going to take a lot of game planning.
So, what you can do, I always tell guys, go to the bar, sit at the bar next to each other. You can still grab appetizers. Most bars allow that. They'll give you a menu, or you can just grab drinks with her. If she doesn't drink, whatever, have her grab a cranberry juice, an appetizer. You can drink. Doesn't matter. If you don't drink, just grab appetizers. As long as you're sitting next to her. Now, a great example, if you're not able to sit next to her, I went out to Applebee's. It was about 2 years ago. I had a date at Applebee's, which isn't far from me because I wanted to bring her back. We sit at a table. We're across from each other. The attraction was very high. Halfway through the date, I go to the bathroom. And what did I do after I went to the bathroom when I come back? Where do you think I sat? You think I still sat across from her? Or do you think I positioned myself to sit right next to her? It was the perfect move. I leave the bathroom, slide right in, sit next to her, bump into her. I can start touching her. Kino escalation. I did it in a smooth way. So now I position myself next to her so I can start touching her. I can start building that sexual tension, that comfort. Because when you kiss her, it's not going to be as creepy. If she allows you to touch her without pulling away, without saying anything, she's ready to be kissed. 100% she's ready to be kissed.
And that's an
That-
example of it's not the end of the world if you can't sit next to her. Czar found a solution middle of the date. Other options are instead of sitting directly across from her, if you're sitting at a table, sit side by side her in the booth. Or if there's a square table, you can sit on one side and she sits on the other side, but it's the two sides closest to each other. So you're still within touching distance that way. So don't let it get in your head if all of a sudden you sit down and you're placed across from each other. Just like Czar said, there's ways around it. Me personally too, I like to have something like a pool table or an arcade game or something that we can get up in the middle of the date and go do. So again, it's not the end of the world if we're sitting across from each other. Now we still can get up, go do an activity together where we're closer and can touch. But these are just those things that the better you get at this, when you have the option, you do want to sit more side by side with her rather than across from her because it's going to make the next stages easier.
Or Adam, you can do palm reading. Give her an excuse to sit next to you halfway through the date. Hey, listen, I want to read your palm. Come sit next to me. Boom. Oh my God, he wants to read my palm. What is he going to say? So if you read books on palm reading, it's actually genius. You can make shit up. They'll eat that up like it's sugar out of your hands. It works. That's a great excuse you can have. Hey, come sit next to me. I want to read your palm. I can only do this if you're sitting next to me. Right there, you gave her an excuse to sit next to you.
Yeah, I
Or
think
like Adam said,
Justin.
go up and play a video game.
Yeah, I think Justin said he has that palm. He read that one palm reading book like years ago, and he still uses like three of those things to this day, just because he decided that one time to read that palm reading book on a coffee table at some girl's house he was at.
And women love it. It's like catnip to them, where you can read their handwriting and say everything about them. You can read their palm. It's similar to astrology to a woman or reading their
Yes,
horoscope. They
which
love that stuff.
is and we announced this last podcast with Richard because he had that astrology line, but I'm almost finished up with flirting with astrology where we have this booklet now that all Players University members are going to get. They give not only a great pickup line for dating apps using astrology with women because women eat that up, but for when you're on a date with a girl, there's a now like a roadmap. You figure out her birthday, and now there's a whole page of ways that you can tease or challenge a woman based on her horoscope, which is really easy to figure out her birthday. And all of a sudden now you can use that to have these little key little traits from each horoscope of like personality things that you can pull out and kind of challenge her with on the date. So that would be another great example when you're on a date with a girl. You figure out her horoscope, and now you have a few of these like lines that you can, challenge her about and kind of build a little attraction, a little push pull with her right there on the date.
Yeah, shout out to Rich. He's a genius for coming up with that astrology line, and it works wonders. If you guys want to know what it is, you have to join the Players University because I use this line in my dating apps. I have several, and the responses I get, absolutely beautiful. And I
Yeah, and this
thank
is
him
gonna be
for
great,
that.
Czar, because I'm gonna make a new challenge in the Players University too for guys once they go through this ebook to use Richard's line and then specifically craft it with one of these personality traits from her horoscope and then show us how it works in action. So then we have all this playback of all different guys like, oh, she's a Virgo, I used this line on her and look how well it worked. Oh, she's a Cancer, I use this line of her, and now we're gonna have this whole new database of ways to use this line even better.
Yeah, even if you guys don't like horoscopes or believe in it, it's a shame. You have to play the role and the archetype as someone who does like it because women like it.
Here's a great example, Czar. I bet you 99.9% of fishermen out there don't like to eat worms, but they still use worms when they're going fishing because they know that fish eat worms. You don't
You
have to
got to
like
use the bait.
worms to put them on the hook and use it as bait.
You still have to appreciate it. You have to use the tools you have.
Yep.
And that's great bait to use with women. But after you sit next to them, one of my tests where I know she wants to be kissed and I get it out of the way in the middle of the date. I used to wait at night when you're walking them to their car or you're going out for a walk, the night's about to end, you grab her, you start kissing her. They know it's coming. But what they don't know is coming is you doing it in the middle of the date and getting it over with. And I realized from my experience, guys, when I kiss them in the middle of the date and I get it out of the way, building that sexual tension, 10 times out of 10, they're more likely to come back to your place and sleep with you or in the car. When you get it out of the way in the middle of the date, you have all that time right after, before the date ends, to raise her temperature even more. You start touching her on her thighs, on her knees. You start rubbing her neck. You start massaging her shoulders. You start massaging her wrists. Now you're smelling her neck. You're kissing her neck. You got the kiss out of the way. You made out with her. You're kissing her. You always be the first one to break the kiss, pull back, because you're not needy. You're not a puppy dog who is salivating all over her face. You pull back, you relax, you look at her. Now you can start massaging her as she's touching you, as she's talking to you. You can start massaging her thigh, her knee. I like grabbing their wrist and just start playing with it, touching it as they're talking to me. But when you do this, when you massage her thigh, you touch her knee, you grab her wrist, you don't look at the body part. That is seeking her approval and validation. You maintain eye contact with her as she's talking to you, and you grab her wrist without looking at it. You grab her thigh without looking at it. It has to be smooth, as if she doesn't even notice you're doing this. It has to be natural. But I'm telling you, your success rate of giving her that hot beef injection increases tenfold if you get it out of the way in the middle of the date. And if she doesn't want to kiss you in the middle of the date, either your game's not tight enough, they're using you as that free meal ticket, like we just mentioned, or she wasn't going to kiss you regardless, bro, whether it was the middle or the end of the date. Let's just call it for what it is. So who gives a fuck?
I know something we say with a lot of guys, like, especially when we are working with newer guys, is that you've got to send out the sexual vibe to women so that she doesn't put you in the friend zone category. And there's a difference between being sexual and being thirsty. And hopefully this can clarify it. Being sexual is having that vibe that you're always ready to pounce when the opposite opportunity presents itself. So when that girl looks at me and she's giving me those eyes, I'm like, oh, she's ready to be kissed. Me being sexual, I'm always ready at a moment's notice. Oh, I see the signs. I'm ready to pounce. Game on. I'm ready to go. But being thirsty is always trying to pounce, sitting there always trying to pounce at the first move she gives you. That would be too thirsty. So being sexual is being able to be in control. You're having fun, you're having the conversation going, and you can talk about anything. And then at a moment's notice, you're ready to pounce when the sign's there. But being thirsty is if you're going on the date, sitting there ignoring what she's saying, and you're just literally just your whole goal and focus is on trying to kiss her or trying to touch her. That would be way too thirsty because you're sitting there ready to pounce at every single move rather than pouncing at the right opportunities. So being sexual is being ready, being thirsty is sitting there, blacking out, not thinking about what she's saying and just going in for the kiss or just going in to try to get it in.
And you're absolutely right. That's why you got to be like a raccoon sometimes. They're so opportunistic. They know when to pounce. They know when to steal food. Okay. But you kind of have to have that type of archetype. And Adam is right. Women don't like passive men. So for you guys that think, no, no, I don't want to kiss her, it's too soon. I don't want her to think that I'm viewing her as a slut or any other type of negative connotation. Let me tell you guys something. When I was hooking up with this gorgeous Indian girl, we were just dating randomly. I didn't want a relationship. She told me about this date she went out with. She went out with a guy who was very rich, successful, good looking. After a while, I asked her, are you attracted to him? She told me, no, not really. And I said, why? She said, because he never tried making a move. He was so passive. So when we tell you guys women don't like passive men, you think we just make that shit up out of our fucking ass. Women do not like passive men. And she was one of the most feminine, beautiful, conservative girls ever. And this is coming from her mouth. He was too passive. He didn't try kissing me. He didn't try making a move. I was bored the entire time. I was giving him the signals. Let me tell you something. She never saw him ever again. Guess who she was fucking with the whole time after that? Me. Even though I didn't want a relationship, but I knew how to play my position. So one of the traits of being masculine and having high levels of testosterone is going after what you want. You're not passive. She gives you the signs. You know how to capitalize on those signs she gives you. You strike when the iron is hot. That's very attractive. But if you make it weird for her and you're showing off your insecurities, she's going to feel insecure as well around you. But if you're cool, calm, collected, acting as if you've done this many times, you know when to kiss her. You're about to kiss her. You're looking at her lips, looking at her eyes, looking at her lips, and you tell her, shut the fuck up and kiss me. And you just start kissing her. You know how wet her panties get? Like, you guys have to understand something. Every relationship begins with a sexual relationship first. It's not the other way around. It will never be the other way around. Go in for the kiss. If the signs are there, do not be a pussy. She will reward you for that. She wants to be seduced. That's why she's there. That's why she got ready for you. That's why she got the hair waxed off her fucking vagina, bro. That's why she got her legs waxed. That's why she got her nails done, her eyebrows done, her hair done. She put on her favorite perfume for you, her matching panties with the matching bra. If she is wearing panties, sometimes they don't wear panties. And if a girl tells you, I'm not wearing any panties, that means easy access. If she says that during the date, fellas, you can't fuck that up. That means I got this in the back. You're going to fuck her that night.
On that note, then of like seeing the right signs, here would be a wrong time to try to go in for a kiss. If a girl is sitting back in her chair giving you a monologue about what she does for work, she's sitting back and she's kind of on autopilot telling you what she does about work, completely non-sexual, no type of vibe there, and she's sitting back. That would not be the right time to lean over into her space and try to kiss her in the middle of her talking. But if you and her are close together and she's leaning into you and now she's talking to you, and as you guys are looking at each other, you're looking at her, she's talking, and I'm looking at her eyes, and then I slowly look down at her lips as she's in the middle of talking. And then I look back at her eyes. And by me doing that, she is looking at me too, and she kind of nervously freezes and she loses her train of thought and she forgets what she's saying. She might even say, "Oh my gosh, I forgot what I was saying." That right there is a time that I can kiss her now because she's leaning in close to me. She's telling me because of the way I'm looking at her and looking at her lips and looking back at her eyes, she's going, "I totally forgot what I was going to say." She's telling me she is not in her autopilot mode of talking about work right now. She is focused on me and her and the connection that we have right there in this moment. She forgot what she was about to say because she's now focused on kissing me. Those would be two completely different scenarios. And in the first one, I would not try for a kiss at all. I would just be sitting back playing my moment. But that second opportunity there, she stops what she's saying, and that's then a perfect time to be like, "All right, well, give me a kiss then." And then she comes in, now I kiss her or something like that. And then I push off her a little bit and I go, "All right, tell me what you're saying again." And I kind of break that sexual tension now and I let her finish what she was telling me. But that would be an opportunity where I would go in for a kiss, but not when she's sitting back talking about something completely boring on autopilot where she's not really engaged in, the moment with me.
And if she's the one that's leading the conversation, she's not attracted to you. So if she's the one that's constantly asking you questions, or she's the one leading the conversation, she's not letting you lead as a man. You're just sitting back. It's a boring, mundane fucking conversation. There's no spark, no type of sexual energy to what she's saying, how she's saying it. She doesn't want to be kissed. Now, this is why I want you guys to sit next to a woman as well. This is very important during the date. After I know the sexual tension is there, I'll lean in and I'll start smelling her neck just to see her reaction. Wow, you smell so intoxicating. What perfume is that you have on? I want to see how she reacts to me leaning into her neck. I'm not going in for the kiss yet, but I want to see, is she going to move her neck and head away from me? Or is she going to be receptive and expose her neck and let me smell it even more? So I might tell her, let me get a good smell of that perfume. If she exposes her neck to me and lets me go in for the kill, she lets me absorb what perfume she has even more. She wants to be kissed 100%. And usually 5 minutes after that, I'll go in for the kiss in the middle of the date because she just gave me the sign that it's okay to kiss her. But you can tell, Adam, some guys aren't pros yet. That's a great test because if the woman starts pulling away a little bit, like, why is this guy close to me? Why is he smelling my neck? Your game isn't on point yet, fellas. You haven't built enough sexual tension, but it comes with practice. Don't be scared to do any of these moves. What's the worst that's going to happen? You become a body language expert over time. you know, that's the worst that's going to happen. You learn from these.
Yeah, and that's where it's the constant paying attention to women is key on at every area with a woman, especially if you as the man are gonna do a move like leaning in, like Zara said there, if he's gonna lean in to smell her, anytime you're going to use that, you're gonna initiate something like that where you're gonna be leaning into her. I want to do that in a slow way because now if I were to slowly lean in any way to get closer to her to smell her and she pulls back in any little way, it might not even be some huge reaction where she pulls back this huge thing and says get away from me. It won't look like that. I'm just looking at all. If I'm moving into her space at all and her first reaction is to pull back, even if it's a micro inch, and her first reaction is to pull back from me, I'm going to stop right there. And now I'm going to pull back as well. Because by me being able to gauge her first movement was pulling back, now I don't have to go any further and go in for something and feel really weird and awkward about it. Me just by seeing her pull back that slight bit, now I just pull back and now I'm getting completely in my space, pulling back, getting comfortable in my chair and going, okay, no worries. She wasn't feeling it right there yet. Now I'm going to warm her back up with some bantering conversation like that before I try again. But when I'm doing that, I'm not losing the date right there because I'm not committing to, I'm just going to go in there and I'm going to smell her whether she likes it or not. And all of a sudden she gets up and walks away and I'm chasing her around. No, let me smell you. It doesn't have to be that. It can be the thought that, okay, I'm going to go in, I'm going to say this. Oh, your perfume smells good. But it's like, is the moment that I come in, if she pulls back, I abort mission. I no longer go on my smell mission. I just pull back and I get back into conversation with her. I ease it out again, let her feel comfortable before trying to intrude in her space again.
Yeah, so it's a technique that you guys have to learn, you have to master, but it comes with listening to what we teach you, reading books on body language, becoming an expert on body language, and just knowing what type of energy a woman is putting out there for you. You have to start becoming very receptive to a woman's energy because they can't fake their energy. They can't lie. They might fake their body language if they're consciously thinking about it, but they can't fake their energy that they exude. So if you are a master at picking up that energy, kiss her, but don't make it a sloppy kiss. Don't use tongue. Match what she is doing. So I like to match with what the girl is doing, how she's kissing me. Just match that. Reciprocate it back. It's an easy rule of thumb to follow if you don't know how to kiss a girl. But always be the first one to pull away, look her in the eyes as you pull away, and then just continue the conversation again as if nothing happened.
Yeah, and that right there is so key, especially if you're going in to initiate the first kiss. You're going to be doing initiating. You for sure want to be the first one to pull back because what you don't want to do is trigger in that girl's mind, okay, he kissed me and now he's going to try to kiss me every second of the rest of the night ever. He's not going to leave me alone at all. That would be where women are very reluctant to kiss a guy in the middle of the date because they're afraid that guy is just going to sit there and try to kiss them for every second for the rest of the day. So once you get that kiss off your belt, like especially like once I get a girl, once I kiss her, I'm just like I don't have to worry about anything for the rest of the night. It's like I got my move, I kissed her, and now I'm just enjoying the rest of the night. And now I'm like, okay, I'm gonna wait, and this girl's gonna come around trying for another kiss. So once I get that first kiss kind of off the belt, now I'm like, this girl's gonna want to come and kiss me again. I'm in no eager rush to kiss her again. Now I'm gonna kind of play hard to get, and then I'm gonna make her. I'm gonna be like, whoa, 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 you're trying. Whoa, I don't move that fast. Like after I establish that kissing, now I'm all about gonna like put her as the horn dog. It's gonna be like for the rest of the night, I'm gonna make it her coming after me and really kind of be like, hey, whoa, I gave you a kiss already. I usually don't do that. You're pushing your luck now, and I'm gonna really make it a challenge now so that I'm never coming across as overly thirsty or overly too sexual with her. So once you get that first kiss off your belt, it's like, do not be the guy that needs to put the pedal to the metal and keep kissing her. It's like, you drop that kiss in there, and now you can play this fun game of where you can pull back now and play a little hard to get and make her chase you for more kisses.
And that's a great point you made because after I kissed him in the middle of the date, I'm not going in for the kiss again. Once you get it out of the way, you don't want to push it and seem too needy and thirsty. But what I will do after I get the kiss out of the way is now I start grabbing her thighs, massaging her thighs gently. I'm building that Kino escalation. I'm starting to massage her wrist because now I want her temperature to get even higher and higher. I want her panties to get even wetter. So you get the kiss out of the way. Now I'm starting to use the power of the touch. And when you have that desire behind the touch, that's what makes it powerful. Your hands, the way you touch her, there has to be that spark of desire behind it. There has to be that intent behind it where you're letting her know you're highly attracted to her, but you're not saying it. You can't just touch her in a boring way, like, okay, Adam and Czar, they said, I got to massage her now, as if it's this checklist of things you have to do because now it doesn't come off naturally. But if you truly feel it, it will get her so fucking wet because the power of the touch and the energy you exude behind that touch, that's the secret to making their panties wet when you're out on that first date with them. And when I invite them back over, we teach you guys always give them a reason. Don't just say, come back to my place. You have to say because. Whatever your reason is, add that because so her guard is lowered. And then you bring her back home. We'll save this for another podcast, how to seduce her properly and how to give her that amazing sex. Because once you can give her that amazing sex, when she's attracted to you, the sex is on point. She feels that energy you have. She can just let go and surrender herself to you. There's no reason why she shouldn't come back. It's very important.
And then on top of this too, again, at every process, I want to reiterate how important it is to pay attention to a woman's signs. So let's say you do kiss a girl and then you are escalating it more by touching her or touching her leg or under the table, kind of touching her thigh, something like that. Again, the same thing is going through my mind. If I'm going over to touch her and her first reaction is to pull away or to scoot away or her body kind of flinches in any way, then again, I am pulling back and really recreating that comfort with her until she starts scooting into me again or she starts initiating touching with me. So throughout this whole process, guys, it's a little game of constantly paying attention to a woman, all the micro moves. It's a game of chess. I'm moving my pawn and I'm seeing where she moves her pawn. All these little micro moves matter, even though a pawn might not matter and that you might think in the grand scheme, you might be staring at her queen or a king on the chessboard. It's like I move my pawn and her pawn moves a little bit. That changes how I play. The whole chessboard matters. So the whole time I'm watching, I'm never losing sight of and just getting in my head of, oh, she's so hot, I gotta sleep with her. Anytime you start to do that and just kind of lose focus of the lose control of your mind, you're going to be in trouble. So you're got to constantly be playing this game of you're feeling the moment, you're feeling the vibes with her. Ah, this feels really sexual. You're caught in that sexual way with her. You're having a lot of fun with her, but you're still cognizant enough to go, oh, look, I just went to grab her leg and she pulled her leg back a little bit. I got to pull back now and, give her space again until she comes back to me so that I'm not chasing her away from me. So that is when you're getting, and the better you get with women, guys, it's not, you don't have to think so much. It's part of the natural game. You're just playing and you're seeing it all and you're just kind of reacting in the moment. But until it's fluent for you, you've got to be cognizant of these little things so that you're not missing the signs that she's giving you throughout the night.
And this is one of my player moves. So, say if you do put your hand on her thigh and she pushes your hand off or she moves her thigh away, like Adam said, okay, you retract everything back. But after 5, 10 minutes, what I like to do next is I'm not going to put my hand on her thigh. I'm going to grab her hand and put it on my thigh. And I want to see how she reacts. And usually, what happens, you'll notice this, they'll leave their hand on your thigh. First, they'll look down, like, what is he doing? Then they realize, oh, it's okay. He's letting me touch him. Then they start rubbing your thigh. It's amazing how this happens. You're not going in and touching their thigh again. You grab their hand as you're talking to them. Subconsciously, she might not even realize you're doing this. Some girls do. Put it on your thigh instead. Put it on your knee and just leave it there. You're not holding her hand the entire time on your, just grab her hand, put it on your thigh, just leave it there and see what she does.
Yeah,
Okay.
and another thing that might happen too is like, okay, you go to put your hand on her thigh and she pulls back a little bit or whatnot. And again, right, if I'm doing that and I'm seeing that, I go to put my hand on her leg and she just flinches for a second. Even if sometimes a girl will flinch and then she'll kind of be like, oh, it's Adam, it's fine, and put her leg back. Well, when she flinches, I remove my hand. Well, then what she might do is she might go, oh, shoot. I didn't want him to move his hand. I want his hand on my leg. So then she might do exactly what Czar's saying. She might just grab my hand and put it on her leg again, basically going, no, Adam, I want you to put your hand on my leg. But again, because I'm paying attention to those signs, I'm seeing this whole thing go out and I'm knowing exactly where this girl's at. Like it very well could be I'm putting my hand on her. She flinches and then she's like, no, no, actually, I'm putting it back. I want your hand on my leg. She's telling me all of this with her body. But I'm like, in my head, I'm like, too late. You already flinched. Now I'm pulling back, and then she's looking at me, and then she's grabbing my hand and putting on her leg now again. And then again, now I'm sitting here going, yeah, this girl really wants me. She's attracted to me. Her attraction's building. So all of that type of stuff To me, it's like I can look at a girl, I can know exactly whether she wants to kiss me or not, but it's because all these little things are going on that I'm paying attention to. So it's not a guess. It's not unclear anymore. It's like the more you really pay attention to these things and you see them going on your dates, the less of a gamble it is for you because you have clarity. You see, okay, she's not ready, no problem. Oh, she is ready. Look at that. Now I can go in for the kiss.
And this all becomes autopilot. Like you don't even have to notice, stare at everything she's doing. Okay, she pulled her knee back. She doesn't want me to. No, this is just all on autopilot. You could still talk to her and still feel the room around you. You know what's going on at all times. You become a master at this shit when you learn the beautiful language of women because they speak their own language. Once you understand it, and you put the puzzle pieces together, everything becomes on autopilot for you. It's all natural. So I want you guys to remember the key fact here. We didn't even talk about this, but this is why I don't like dinner dates the first date because you can't do any of this when you're having a dinner with a girl. It's very difficult to do what we're teaching you here. Okay. That's number one. Number two, you have to give off player vibes. You can't go in there being that passive, nice guy. No, no, I'm not. I'm not gonna touch you. I know you're an angel, even though when you were 17, you probably got railed in the back alleyway somewhere. You probably had several threesomes in college, but no, you're special. You're this angelic woman. Get that out of your fucking head, bro. They've all been railed in the backseat of a car by the time they were in college. They've all been railed in some back alleyway, in some bathroom at a dive bar. You have to get this whole she's special out of your way. She is a sexual human being just like you are, but she wants a man who can bring it out from within her. Every woman wants to surrender themselves to a strong masculine alpha male who also exudes sexual prowess. He's not afraid to express that type of energy. There should be nothing passive about you. You see something, you go for it. You strike when the iron is hot. Get it out of the way, and she will reward you for it later that night. I promise you, whether it's a blowjob, whether it's you giving her the hot beef injection, whether it's her surrendering her entire self to you and moaning like crazy, howling at the moon all night, whatever it is. But that is the reward you guys get if you listen to what we teach you and invest in what we have to offer you.
Yeah, and a lot of this too, when we're talking about more of the mindset of getting ready and paying attention to all that, there are a lot of little signs you can actually tell, things we break down. Like guys in the Players University, if you're in here on week 7, we cover first dates and getting women home with you. In week 8, we talk about kissing and moving things forward sexually. And that's where we'll actually give you the actual signs that look how when she's playing with her hair, when she's moving her body this way, when she's scooting in, we're giving you all these little tiny signs that you can start to calculate and use to actually go, okay, look, she just did this. She's ready to kiss me. But the moral of the story is that when you're on dates with women, you have to be ready to strike, but you don't want to be sitting there waiting like you're trying to strike at everything she throws at you. It's a balance of being ready to be sexual without turning your sexual switch all the way on to where she's like, "Oh, I can't ever turn this guy's switch off. He's just all over me and it's gross and thirsty and creepy." It's like there's this slight balance you got to have, but you have to have that meter ready to pounce or else she will see you as more boring. There's no mystery anticipation there. She doesn't get that feeling of the hunt, really, of like, what's going on here? Oh, wow. Is he going to kiss me? All that. If she doesn't feel that you have that potential to kiss her, she's not going to be that engaged in it. And if she feels like you're sitting around waiting to kiss her at everything she says, she's also going to be like, oh, this is too boring. It's got to be that mix in the middle where you're ready to kiss her, but you're also not ready to throw yourself at her. You're kind of like, hey, you're going to have to earn this. You're going to have to do a little, you're going to have to work a little bit for a kiss from me, but it's a balance of that energy.
100% Adam. And I'm glad you established that because the last thing we want is to you guys have, we don't want you guys to have any type of charges. We don't want you guys to get arrested and then say, we listened to the Full Armor of Game podcast and texting Prince, Adam, and Czar. This is what they told me to do. And then we're on the news. We don't want any of that happening, guys. So Don't force yourself on a girl. And I hate to even say this, but we have to say it. Disclaimer. You do not force yourself on a woman. And I'm going to give you another great example if you guys don't fucking believe me. This one Brazilian that I was in a serious relationship with, before she met me on Hinge, she matched with another dude who was within her location in her city. Good looking guy, tall. She told me about him. They were in the car at the end of the night. He tried making out with her and he tried putting the moves on her, trying to seduce her, hoping that she would go further. She told him to stop several times. She was pulling back, and he was very persistent. He wouldn't take no for an answer. He was very pushy. She said she had the most uncomfortable feeling in that car. She wanted nothing to do with this guy ever again, and she never saw him again. The last thing you guys want to do is to make a woman feel uncomfortable. And that's why feeling her energy is one of the most important things you guys can do because energy doesn't lie. If you feel any type of negative energy coming from her, where she's uncomfortable in any type of way, you failed your job as a man because a woman has to always feel comfortable with the man she's with. That's one of the traits of masculinity. She doesn't have her guard up. She's not defensive around you. She can let go and be herself because she has the utmost trust in you where you're not going to do anything that's going to disrupt her comfort zone in any way. That is very important. If a woman doesn't feel comfortable around you, she can't trust you. And if she can't trust you, she can't be with you. She will not find you attractive. So remember that key point, guys. There's a guy in the Players University. We all know him. He was very thirsty when he first started. I don't want to say his name. He's doing much better now.
Way better. Way
He's
better.
doing much better. He doesn't have that needy, thirsty energy like he did. And that's why he was scaring every girl away because they can sense it. Women are very intuitive. You can't hide it.
And actually, this is a good one to talk about then because when we, and again, it doesn't matter what his name is, but we could tell when he would send a text in the Players University, we could tell we're like, dude, we can tell you're trying to get it in. We could feel the energy of him being way too thirsty, him just trying to get sexual with her like too much. And as neutral observers, we could feel that. So she could feel that. And the change that I've seen him make, at least, is like when he's sending us texts, instead of him immediately jumping to something sexual, it's like he he alludes to something sexual, but then when the girl takes the bait, he doesn't jump on it really sexual way too fast. Now he kind of pushes her away. That's the difference is he comes in kind of sexual and now he'll kind of push the girl away and be like, well, I don't know if you've earned it yet. And he'll throw something like that in there. So now it goes from him being way too sexual, way too hypercharged, trying to make everything sexual. It's like, all right, that girl played sexual. And then he pulls it back. And that is the key balance that he's doing now to where it's like, okay, she senses he's sexual, but she doesn't have to be on guard that he's always sexual. And that's this idea of once you do kiss that girl, why it's so important for the guy to pull away then. Why it's so important for the guy to pull away and get back to normal conversation rather than just trying to, you know, make out with her for the rest of the date is because when you push it to the middle, you get the kiss and then you keep pushing throughout the rest of the date. Now she feels uncomfortable because there's no breaks involved. But when you can get her to kiss and then you can put on the brakes, now she's like, whoa, this is fun because this guy's sexual. It could go sexual at any moment, but he also knows how to put the brakes on. So now she's along for the ride and along for the attraction dance rather than just going, this guy's all gas or this guy's all brake. You've got to have that in between where you can put on the gas, but you can also put on the brakes. And that becomes this fun dance for a woman because now she doesn't know what's coming next. But if you're all brake, it's predictable. If you're all gas, it's predictable.
And you don't ever want to make her feel like she's cheap. So some guys make a girl feel like she's very cheap. They can keep kissing her. They can keep groping her. Oh, she's easy. She's this, she's that. You have to find that right balance. You don't ever want to make a girl feel like she's cheap, but you also don't want her to feel like she's the most expensive steak that you ever had in your life. So there's that right medium you guys have to find. So go out there, seduce her the right way with your masculine charm, your presence, your energy, your sexual prowess without being needy, without being thirsty. Don't be that passive, boring guy that doesn't make a move because I've told you stories already of how unattractive that is. And she's just going to jump right back in the arms of me and Adam, even though we told her 10 times we don't want a relationship. And that's what they're looking for. They're coming back to
Yeah.
daddy. Come
So,
back to
how
daddy.
about this? We'll leave the guys with something here then. How about you guys sitting here going, all right, well, I want to be able to make a move, but I don't want to come on too strong. Well, here's a safe kind of way to play it where you can try this at the end of a date. Let's say you're not feeling comfortable kissing her in the middle of the date. At the end of the date, you think you had a good date with her, things are going well, and you're going in for a hug with her. And you're getting the prolonged hug, which is where you're hugging a girl and you can tell she's kind of holding on to you. It's a prolonged hug. In those moments, you can just pull off a little bit, kind of stand tall because you're most likely going to be taller than the girl. So in those moments, this is a nice kind of easy, low risk way to do it. Is you're hugging her, the prolonged hug, you stand tall and kind of relax your grip on her so that now you're tall and she has an opportunity where you're kind of pulling back too with your chest in your face. And now what you're going to look for is if she looks up at you in this prolonged position where you're standing tall, you can look down at her. If she looks up at you and holds eye contact for a second, now all you have to do is lean your mouth kind of towards her and slowly go in for the kiss, and she'll hold her mouth up and she'll move her lips up towards you. And now you can go in for an easy kiss. If you're in this prolonged hug stage and you back off for a second, stand tall, and you're kind of looking down at her, giving her a chance to look at you, and she looks up at you and then immediately puts her head down and hugs your shoulder, or immediately puts her head down so that now you're staring at the top of her head, she's telling you, I'm not ready to be kissed yet. That is a very simple, easy way that you can go in for it if you're a little bit worried at the end of the date, and you don't have to worry. You go in for the prolonged hug. You're pulling back for a second, and you're giving her that opportunity to look at your eyes and keep those eye contact. And if she's staring in your eyes, you just slowly go in with your lips, and she'll lift her head up, and now you're kissing her. And if she doesn't want to be kissed, she will automatically put her head down, or she'll hug into your shoulder so that she's not giving you a chance to kiss her lips. And that's an easy way to then go, all right, well, I tried. She showed me she wasn't ready to be kissed. Or boom, look at that, I got the kiss. So there's a little way for you guys, all of you that are in Players University or that are joining our 5-week seminar. This is a cool thing, is during the 5-week seminar, we have all the time afterwards for all the guys to ask specific questions about, well, what about this? What about if I see this? Can I go in for a kiss? What about this? All of that stuff, we can cover all of the specifics when you join our 5-week seminar. So join below in the show notes. You got to fill an application out, and then Czar and I will send out emails and letting a small group in of around 10 guys or so to get a bunch of individual time with us.
And we already have people that pre-joined. So there's already people that joined before we even announced this. Make sure you guys join. It's first come, first serve. We can only have about 10 people, or else we'd be up until 5 in the morning doing this, answering questions and giving you guys one-on-one consultations with everyone. So it's a
Yeah.
limited amount. We don't
And
want you guys to be diluted.
if
Okay.
you sent in an application in the past, don't worry. We're going to go through that first. Our backlog of guys that didn't get in our last seminars. I've seen a few come in just recently too. So if you're hearing this going, oh, I haven't heard back yet, don't worry. We're going to start sending out the emails in the next few days. And then once you get that email, join up, buy the coaching program, and then you're going to be locked in and secured for when we start on August 21st.
Yes. And just to end, I want you guys to know that when I first started kissing them in the middle of the date, I was nervous as shit. I didn't know if it would work. So if you guys are nervous, it's okay. I was nervous as well because I always used to do it at the end of the date. But when you do it over and over again, you're very comfortable. You build your confidence. You just go for it. No shame. So don't be shy if you are nervous. Don't be embarrassed if you're nervous at doing this. I was nervous to get it out of the way in the middle, but I've noticed the success rate is much higher and I get rewarded for doing it. You guys will too if you take our advice.
Yeah, and again, when you're in Players University, when you're on the 5 week seminar, we have slides that will cover scenarios. We'll say, hey, look, when a girl's looking like this, and we'll show you a picture, she's showing you she's not ready to be kissed. When a girl's looking at you like this, and we show you a picture, you can tell, look, she's ready to be kissed. So we go through all these different scenarios so you have a lot better, framework in your mind of when to go in and feel confident and when to kind of pull back and kind of build more comfort. We go through all those scenarios. It's harder to hear on a podcast, an audio podcast. So we wanted to, hit you more with the mindset, but there are definitely all these little tiny ways that you can see it. And when you see it, your confidence grows and you know you're ready to go for it. But if you want to learn all those nitty gritty, that's what we have the Players University and our 5 week coaching program for.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. That was episode 48.